Welcome to South Florida. And we are in Jupiter, Florida to be specific, off of the highway in an industrial park. Honestly, we had to drive around the block to find the place. But in this industrial park is a pinball haven. It's a dealership. It's a place where they work on machines. It's an arcade that's on free play. And it's the tournament hub for this part of Florida. Join me as we go off to and have fun with the pinball dudes. Come on. Here we are in the pinball dudes. We can see some of the people who have made this all possible. And as we walk in the door, we've got games over here to the left, including a Monster Bash, a Turtles. We've already got a Dr. No, a Black Knight, and a Led Zeppelin. But what makes this place so unique is look at all these games getting ready to walk out the door or to be bought by the person who's enjoying a game. So we can see a Star Wars and another Black Knight, a Jurassic Park, a Mandalorian. Players come in all sizes. But look at the decoration in this place. It is just a sight to see. Even the lights have Jurassic Park banners on them. But you'll love to see the old play fields. You got Star Trek, 2 Deadpools, a couple Star Wars, Iron Maiden, Funhouse. This is a Blackwater 100. It's working. I just need to get my fingers on it. But this game here, I have not played. And I am fascinated by this game, so I want to see that. And then we got our Gilligan's Island, our World Poker Tour, Cue Ball Wizard. We have all these games on end, ready to be the next games out on the floor. There's even some in storage. So there are, oh, there's a comic edition. That's interesting. And then as we keep traveling, we can even come up our classics. Embryon, 300, Satin Dolls, Jungle, 2001. You know, it's not what my 2001 looked like. And I don't mean the game, I just mean 2001 wasn't as futuristic. But we've got a Lost World, a Black Knight, 8-Ball Deluxe, and a Flash. And look at the decorations. They also have a full tech area, where we can see where they're working on various games, including that Simpsons Pinball Party, as well as these games that are either getting ready to be going on out or are being shopped before they come out. But it is truly a pinball person's paradise. Hi, Glenn Hoffman.
Hi, I'm Lauren Cugliotta.
Lauren, right?
Yep, Lauren.
Wonderful. Lauren, we are here at the Pinball Dudes. Mm-hmm. What does Lauren do here at the Pinball Dudes?
So I'm the store manager. I do inventory, I do sales, I do a little bit of logistical work, I do a little bit of technical work, and I open and close the store.
This is a big place. I mean, how many games do you have right now in this store?
I think active we have 47 playable, and then in the boxes we have 30-something, I believe, and then folded up we've got lots of games just kind of hanging out both in the store and in storage. I don't know the approximate number, but quite a bit.
I mean, that's what makes this place such a unique environment. It's a matter of going, you're like in the store. Mm-hmm. But in many ways, this is also an arcade. It's also a tournament location. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, tell me about all these different parts here that you guys are doing in the store with your 47 machines there and 30 machines in the boxes and all the other machines that are folded on up. So talk me through some of the different parts of what you got here.
So we're primarily a retail store. We buy and sell and trade pinball machines. So we'll have all of our games that we have set up on the floor. There are games that are ready to sell and ready for people to play. So we're a combination of just selling them and for people to come play them. We don't have any type of charge for people to come play, so we invite the public to come here, play our games, try them out, and whether they just want to play them or if they're interested in buying them and trying them out to buy them, either is fine. We want people to just have an enjoyable environment to come play some pinball and find out what they like. We're also a Stern distributor, so we'll have either floor models that are traded in or ones that we've set up ourselves out of the box. And we've got our box inventory straight new from Stern, and these are all games that are for sale. And we also work in used games. So all the games that are obviously older Sterns and beyond, we work primarily through like the late 1960s through today.
Wow.
So we have all different games from those eras, and we tech them all out, we shop them, and we partially refurbish them. No cabinet work or anything, but we get them to full working condition so they're playable and so they can either be played in the store or go to new homes.
And now, if I remember right, aren't you also a tech of some sort, or you were a trainee of tech, or what is our story about? Because it was really neat to talk to, honestly, a young lady who is also a pinball tech. So
Yeah.
How did that all happen?
So I started here as an intern in 2019, mid 2019. So I saw the pinball dudes on Facebook when I was studying for my finals for my junior year, and
that was in computers, or what were you studying?
I think at the time I was actually studying psychology.
Psychology. Well, there you go.
I was looking at the computer, and something from the Palm Beach Post popped up, and it said that a pinball shop opened in Jupiter. So I was like, well, that's really, really cool, because I played pinball a little bit through college. So I contacted my dad. I'm like, let's go check this place out. I'd be interested in doing an internship maybe. So we walked in right when I started my winter vacation, and I talked to them, and they said, yeah, I could do an internship. So that's how that started. It came from June.
And so when you talk to them, are we talking about then the dudes?
Yeah, Eric specifically.
Eric specifically, and he's the one who is no longer with us anymore?
Correct. He passed away this past June.
Right, because he was the competitor of the group, or how did that all go? I know he was a big professional jet ski racer and stuff like that as part of the dudes, or...
So I guess I'll kind of give a background on how Eric...
Sorry, thanks.
No worries. So Eric and Dave both worked in pinball for quite a bit of time out of their garages, and I think at one point, Eric had like 30 or 40 games in his house, and Dave had like 30 games in his house, and they were like, this isn't economical, like our houses are being taken over by pinball machines. So they talked, and they're like, well, let's just set up a shop, and they found the unit next door.
Okay.
So Dave has always worked remotely, but Eric always ran the store side of it. So he was always the one in the store, he was the one doing all the sales, running the shop side, while Dave always did everything on the business side with sales, online, stuff like that. So I see Dave quite a bit, like when he would come to visit, but Eric was always in the store, so he's the one that I got to see most of the time. But he was a world champion jet skier. He raced for, I think, 18 to 20 years, I believe, something like that. He raced for a long time, and he was a competitive pinball player. So he did a lot, and he... And
so he's the one who brought you in then as an intern?
Yeah.
Okay. So then your internship, because I know I just kind of took us on a side travel there. So during your internship, so your dad brings you on up here, you talk to Eric, and Eric goes...
Yeah, sure. So I filed all the paperwork with him to do it, and then I was an intern briefly from June 2019 to August, and he basically just taught me basic shop work, like how to take play fields apart, plastics, rubbers, and how to LED them. A little bit of technical work, some troubleshooting on boards, but not like a ton, because I only was there for like a brief period of time.
Okay.
And then I went back to college, did my junior year, or the second half of my junior year, Came back for the winter break of my senior year, which was December 2019 into January 2020. Came back, just did some more shop work, and then went back to school. COVID hit, took a long stretch, and then I came back in March of 21 full time.
But let's talk about your tournaments and stuff like that, because I mean, I know the crazy thing is that you guys are all on free play. You know, so it's like I get to come in here, find an arcade, which there's not a lot of arcades in this immediate area that I've been able to bump into. And the idea that you guys are free, and then you also run tournaments. So what's the philosophy behind being a free shop as a free play for everybody? And then talk to me about how often you're running tournaments and who do we get coming on up here to play?
As far as the free play, why we do free play, so obviously we want to sell games, but we also want people to learn how to play pinball. Like, we don't want you to just come look at a game and look at it and be like, okay, I guess I'll take this one home. You want to learn how to play them, learn the story behind a certain game. Like, you know, James Bond and Black Knight, they both look really cool, but they play completely differently.
Right.
So you want to learn how to play them and stuff like that, so you can get a feel of maybe you would want this for your home. And even stuff like the music, like maybe you could listen to it for a while and you're like, you know, I don't know if I would like this sound in my house, or I would love to listen to this soundtrack. Stuff like that. So we want people to kind of get a feel for what they like when they come to buy. So that's primarily why we do the free play. Okay. But at the same time, we want people, if they want to just come play pinball, we want them to be able to come play pinball. Because it's a growing industry, and we want people to be able to come back and either relive their childhood or learn something new, because throughout the early 2000s, there wasn't a whole ton of pinball like growing like it is again. So we want people to come back and try that pastime again. So that's another reason why we do the free play. But as far as tournaments go, I hold them either once or twice a month. Traditionally, they were Flip Frenzies, my Tuesday nights, but starting in 23, IFPA is changing the ruling for Flip Frenzies, so I'm changing my format to max match plays, which is really similar, but instead of unlimited qualifying, it's 20 head-to-head matches.
Okay.
So it's almost the same, except you'll just have an even number of matches, which I think will work out well. It might go a little longer, but I think in the end it'll work out more. It's more even. And then on Saturdays, I'll do my 4-strike tournaments.
Okay.
And on occasion, I'll do launch parties as well. The Tuesday night tournaments tend to draw around 10 to 15 people. And then the Saturday tournaments kind of vary. Sometimes I'll get around 10 to 20. But I've actually gotten up to like 40. So it really depends for the Saturday, just depending on the crowd. Because it's easier to come on a Saturday morning than it is a Tuesday night.
Well, it's just, but I think about the amount of games that you have. I mean, this would be an ideal place to run a tournament, just because of the fact that it's like I mean, there's a lot of machines here.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of breadth of machines that you have, because you have an entire section that is your classics and all the way up to your modern Sterns. So I mean, you really get a chance to play a whole mix of games.
Oh yeah, and having such a big amount of games helps too, especially because we don't always have a tech on hand during the tournaments to make major repairs if something were to happen to a game. So I have a lot of games on hand should I need to swap something in, so it helps with that too.
Well, yeah, because even like right now I'm looking over your shoulder and I can see a Star Wars and a Star Wars. So if Star Wars is down, you can jump over to
the other
Star Wars. And not everybody has that type of flexibility to be able to go, oh, Deadpool's down. We can play Deadpool with the Topper now. You know, it's like, and so that's really just a unique opportunity to have out in this area. This is a really enjoyable place to be in. I'm so glad we made it out here, and just I think people really need to know this place exists and just get a chance to walk around and just see the games that you have, and having people like yourself here just makes this wonderful. So thank you very much for everything you do for pinball. We sure do appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please visit our sponsor, Comet Pinball. Comet Pinball has what you need to make your dim machines look better than new. They have the largest selection of bulbs from the exotic to the mundane, and even their exclusive matrix lighting system, which makes it easy to boldly add lighting where no lighting has gone before. Visit CometPinball.com.
Hi, Glenn Hoffman.
Vince Gelomine.
Vince, all right. We are standing in front of Embryon?
Embryon wide body.
Why are we, I mean, I know we're about to play, but you got to choose the game. So how in the world did you pick Embryon as the game that we're about to play?
Everyone has a preference for what type of machine they like, what genre. I happen to like classic wide bodies.
Okay.
So I've got 18 or so classic wide bodies, 77 to 83. I've got all the Ataris, so all 6 Atari wide bodies, which most people stay away from.
Right.
But I just love how much they packed into and all the different features of a wide body. Now, granted, Stern today has done an amazing job, probably partially due to this CAD software and everything, and how many things they could pack into a normal size cab. But back in the day, you know, this is where you can have so much variety going on, and the replayability is there on a lot of these wide bodies because there's so much to do.
So what is your argument for the people who say wide bodies are floaty?
Put them on 2x4s. But they are a little slower sometimes. It depends on the machine. Some are quicker, and you know, it all depends on your playing style and how you want to set up your machine, right?
All right. Well, why don't you coin us in too, and we'll have the rest of our conversation while we play a little bit of Embryon here. I can honestly say I do not remember playing this game in the past, so I am looking forward to learning the ropes.
Well, like any, I'm a tournament player, right? So.
Okay.
For tournament strategy, even though this has a multi-ball, you actually don't go for the multi-ball.
Okay.
Because it doesn't give you any big benefit other than having 2 balls on the play field, because you're not getting 2x scoring. So it's really about bonus, and you have a feature here that is somewhat random. And when you take advantage of the bonus countdown,
Okay.
is crucial to tournament scoring. Because if you can build your bonus first, and this is a Bally, so you have super bonus. So obviously, if you're at 19,000 or 39,000, you want to get that super bonus, so it carries over ball to ball.
Okay.
But once you do that, choosing when to hit those targets to try to get that bonus count, especially if you're at 5x, will make or break you in a tournament. So
all right.
let's
Well,
go.
let's see what we got. So you're currently. You'll go ahead, lunch it up. We'll just keep chatting. It's the one hope I have of beating you. Is I at least practice talking while playing. So now you've been playing in tournaments. Where have you played recently, or do you mainly play here, or what is the pinball dudes to you when it comes to tournaments?
So I started playing competitive pinball 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And the Pinball Dudes had their very first tournament in April of 2019. That was my first tournament myself. So their
Okay.
first tournament happened to be my first tournament. And I got bit by the tournament bug, right? And so it's been 3.5 years. I have qualified for the state championship every time. I study the rules. And what's challenging about playing here is that, as you can see with these machines, and this is a retail store, they change the machines all the time because you've got trade-ins and sales. So it's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get when you show up. So it's much more challenging than a venue that has the same machines that you can learn really well, which we just came from yesterday. That venue has the same machines, so you can learn how they play. Here, you've got to adjust very quickly when you show up.
I bet.
Yeah, so the IFPA 17 World Pinball Championship
Okay.
happened in Florida at the Pinball Asylum this year in May.
Right.
So we had the top players from all around the world come into Fort Myers, and it's a couple of hours away from here, 2.5 hours. And originally Norma Jennings from Pinball and Cancer Stream and big Florida promoter of pinball, and she was instrumental in helping me in my competitive career, and she was doing the commentating. She had passed away earlier this year, and it fell on me to work on that stream. So I had to learn everything about Twitch and commentating.
Welcome to Pinball. You're in.
And it's a big responsibility, right? Because
Right.
it's the World Pinball Championship. So I had help from a lot of people. I called a lot of people who already did streaming, and Carl D'Angelo from IE Pinball.
Absolutely.
And, a number of other people who've done commentating, like Levy Naiman, who's done a lot of commentating. So we did the IFPA World Pinball Championships, and I commentated that, and along with a bunch of other people we brought in along the way, as you do in tournaments. So it was a big responsibility, but a lot of fun, and that's available online now. So yeah, that's and now the women's state championship is this month, and I'll be commentating that as well.
All right,
so it's a lot of fun to do.
So that'll be then in January of 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So in this type of place, then, have you been generating some pretty good players out of here with this type of diversity? I mean, you've done well. I mean, what about other people who you've been playing with then for the last so many years?
Yeah, Florida players, there's a lot of good Florida players, and we're lucky to have Eric Stone, the current world champion and former ¡1 player in the world, and those changed. He's #1 rated last I checked versus ranked, but he was ranked. So Eric Stone will come here and play, and he's who I model a lot of my play after, because I spend a lot of time with him. Got another friend, Sebastian Bobbio, top 150 player or so, and we were talking about luck a minute ago. Ball control, right? And just being methodical and trapping. I'd say, to me, the biggest skill that's helped me and helps any player is being able to control that ball, trap it up, aim your shot, and if you're accurate, you don't have the ball going out of control. So I spend a lot of time watching the better players. That's what's allowed me to get better. But Florida's a tough state because it's in the championship, which I'll be playing this year. I have to play Eric Stone, the world champ. So we'll see how it goes. Everyone has to make it through him.
Exactly.
So it's not. What's also interesting about the Pinball Dudes is, of course, it's a retail shop. So allowing people to play free, having tournaments, you know, it all helps. I bought 2 of my pinball machines here.
I bought one of mine here. I get it.
So I think it's good. And also they don't focus on the marketing of it. They're not trying to sell you when you're here.
Right.
They just let you do your thing. And then if you want to buy it, great. And so there's no pressure, and they're just so important to the South Florida pinball community.
I agree.
Because in Florida, a lot of the activity is in the central part of the state. So we just drove 2.5, 3 hours up to Central Florida, where some tournaments were, and there's tournaments almost every month, the state championships up there. So having an area to play, somewhere to play down here in this area is a blessing for all of us, and we really appreciate the Pinball Dudes.
Well, it's just neat too, because I've seen the whole shop area, seeing the fact that this is more than, when you describe it as somebody who's doing more than just trying to sell you something, they're taking care of it, they're putting together the tournaments, they're organizing these things. Your story to me is one that is just captivating. You know, this idea of going, I played my first tournament here, and I've been now working my way up through the rankings. It's just like going, this is what pinball's all about. And it's just exciting to be able to be in a place that helps make that happen.
And I started with buying 1 machine, right? And I'm up to like 28 machines.
Yeah, aren't we all?
So, yes, we all know the story.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having the Pinball Dudes.
We're glad to be here. We really are. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So what did we learn today? Well, what I learned was this Pinball Dudes is really an amazing place to be in. We've met people who played their very first tournament here and have worked their way all the way up to being 3rd in the state. We learned that this model the Pinball Dudes are using works. They're a dealership, but they're also putting everything on free play so that people can come in. We saw small kids playing, we saw women playing, we saw men playing. We're seeing people who are getting a chance to experience and become part of pinball, all while doing it in a place in which people are selling machines and helping to spread the pinball that we love. It's an amazing place. Next time I'm in Jupiter, I guarantee you we will be back at the Pinball Dudes. Thanks for joining us. And remember, check us out on YouTube, like and follow us. Don't forget to look us up on Facebook, and you can always find us on our usual.com at www.tilttrek.com. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Let's go on a road trip with the sun in our face. We have a full tank of gas. We can go any place, north, south, east, west. It doesn't really matter. Let's leave this town. We can drive forever. It doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, let's go on a road trip. It doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, let's go on a